Nicky got me rolling, got me shaking, got me aching, got me twitching, got me snitching, got me making a fuss. Nicky got me bowled over, got me over his shoulder, got me slapping, got me whacking, got me smacking my lips. Oh, Nicolas Cage, oh, Nicolas Cage, he's an international treasure of ours, yeah.
Put the fireplace on the background.
Oh yeah.
Fireplace.
Yeah.
Just ambient fireplace.
Okay.
It makes it
That is
cozy.
gonna fuck with the audio.
No. Not if you mute it.
Yeah, just, you know.
What's the point of mute? But then you don't get the crackle.
You may not get the crackle. It's
Imagine.
the visual effect.
Yeah.
It's cozy.
And
You
the
get-
man
And
editing.
you don't have to listen to what's his name again.
He's a
He was
country.
in
He's a country singer, isn't he?
What's his name?
I don't know, but he's a
He was
country.
in, he was in 20, Kiefer Sutherland.
That's it. He's a
He was
country
in
singer.
24. And he was in the first horror film I ever watched with Nathan.
Mirrors.
Mirrors.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mirrors
We
is
were
it?
too young to watch it. It was really exciting to us. 'cause
Yeah,
it was
for
like
anyone who
teen,
doesn't
it
know
was
what
like the
Mirrors
first
is, it's a
movie.
film where people get murdered by their own reflection.
There's a woman in the bath who like rips
Oh,
her jaw off her
We
like
started recording?
face.
Oh.
How old were you?
I don't know. Not like
13?
I don't
12, 13?
I don't even fucking remember. Anyway, welcome back to Nicolas Cage International Treasure, the podcast where we watch every single one of Nicolas Cage's about 117 films.
And counting.
And counting.
Because this guy ain't
Stop.
giving up any
There's
time
another
soon.
one. Like, there was another one that was out like a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah,
Possibly.
the
It keeps coming.
Hard-
It just keeps coming.
Hard Grind just came out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hard grind.
yeah. He plays a cowboy.
I'm here with my co-hosts John,
Hi.
Kieran,
Hello.
and we have two special guests tonight.
Yeah, you're no longer a main guest, a main host.
Fantastic. Am I no longer a co-host? Okay.
No, you've been demoted.
We've got lore. We've made lore for you now with the other podcasts since you've gone.
Daniel's back, and with us today is Jennifer as well.
Yes, indeed. As a special guest with Daniel.
Yes.
Neither of the special guests have watched the film.
Of course.
So we're going to explain the whole thing to them.
This has happened before, though.
I've done
It
it.
We
works
had
pretty well.
Ben and Adele on a while ago, and neither of them had really watched the film we were watching, reviewing. It's late.
Which was a fucking great film as well, so it's a shame that they missed that
Oh,
one.
it's good. Never on Tuesday.
Well,
but the
that was it,
film
Never on Tuesday.
The film.
this week. Oh, I deleted the
Intro?
Hang on, let me see if
You
it's in
deleted
here.
your
It's
intro.
in here. Grand Isle 2019, directed by Stephen S. Campanelli,
Yes.
written by Ivor William Jalla and Rich Renat, starring Nick Cage, Kadee Strickland, Luke Benward, and Kelsey Grammer. Synopsis is, I want you to fuck my wife, the movie, unless you fought in Vietnam but didn't and improvised all your lines. How did we find this film?
Fucking, it was good up to a point, and then after a while you can tell they just rushed it, and it made no sense.
Yes.
That's the best way to describe it. It was a good like love affair film. If it's like it's the intro to a porno,
Yeah,
and then
a lot of it felt like the intro to a porno.
they just let it roll for like an hour, and then after an hour they were like, shit, we can't actually make them fuck, so we're just gonna fuck.
If you're
around
gonna
and see
call
what
it an intro
happens.
to, it was 4 different intros to a program.
So you're telling me the guy in Nick Cage's wife don't fuck?
Oh no, they do
Okay.
Well,
in
do
the
they?
bathroom. Yeah,
that's
all
The
they-
wife
Alright,
premise
alright,
they're putting close.
Nick
right,
Cage
you're
doesn't.
talking about the new guy. Nicolas Cage and his wife do not fuck at any
No.
point in the film.
They have a whole thing of she wants to fuck a younger man, and Nicolas Cage doesn't want the
But
other
like,
man to fuck
she only
him. But he's
she
like,
only
I
does
don't-
it because she wants to get like some kind of weird revenge on Nicolas Cage's character
Yeah.
because they're in a really like dysfunctional, toxic relationship that also involves quite a lot of murder.
But,
Yeah.
the film starts out and there's a man in a mask, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, someone robs Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, and he falls through his fence. Nicolas Cage shoots him really poorly and shoots him in the shoulder, and he falls over, and like the fence is broken. Then we skip time to this random fucker who's got a wife and a baby, and he's work because he's an ex-convict.
Did anyone
No,
else?
he's an ex-Navy SEAL, or just was in the Navy.
He was, yeah.
He was
and
a
just
Navy
got
SEAL.
back.
He was a boatman.
So they're like, okay, he needs work, so he finds that he owns some like fence fixing.
I think it was his mate's fence fixing business, and he recommends him this job.
I was building Lego at the time, but basically, he was like, there was a fence and he fixed. And Nicolas
what Lego
Cage
are you
is just
building?
Yeah, that's what I was going to
that
ask.
Lego behind you, the wee fucking.
Baby Yoda, Mandalorian, and Tails.
Tails
Sonic.
Tails the
And
Hedgehog.
then-
Tails the
I
Crumble.
need Lego.
The Crumbs.
Just letting you know.
And then
It's going out.
Yeah, buy me Lego.
he.
Thank you.
Easy.
Jump down.
He needed a fence, Nicolas Cage, because he shot a man, he did his fence fixed, so this fucker came in and fixed his fence, or tried to fix his fence for him.
Yes, and then
And that's when the porno basically
that's
began.
when Nick Cage's because Nick Cage's wife goes up to Nick Cage and is all being sexy, and then she takes off Nick Cage's sunglasses and he's asleep, and she gets annoyed because it's their anniversary, and then
This
she
is
goes
really out of order.
and tries to fuck the guy who's fencing the
Fence.
the fence
That was
Who would
broken
fence
by
a fence.
the person who broke into the
Broke
house
in,
earlier
and
and
it's
got
like
shot.
it's kind of like a red herring or a false lead, because prior to this there's a scene where the guy who's fencing is in a police cell and is being interrogated, and he has a shot through the shoulder, and so you're thinking he burgled the place, but no, he's fencing the fence that got
Obviously.
broken. And then Nick Cage puts bottles up on the fence and shoots at the bottles
Yeah,
while he's fencing.
I have a
it.
problem with this scene. So the whole point of it is,
Which
you're-
scene exactly?
imagine you're fixing the fence, right, and a man comes with a crate of beer and just starts putting bottles on the fence next to you. You're like, this is weird. Then he starts goes onto the roof of his house and starts shooting the bottles next to you.
Yeah.
And instead of just leaving, you aggressively go, fuck you, and then you just go, okay, let's
Continue
fix
with
the-
your
let's
job.
fix the
Well,
fence
he
then."
needs the money because he has a wife and a young child at home.
And the
Doesn't make a
baby's
fucking
probably
difference.
sick because
They're
he keeps
trying-
coughing.
Yes, but there's a tornado,
No way.
It's not a tornado, it's a
Yes.
hurricane.
a hurricane.
Before we move on, I've got a fencing story.
Oh, fuck.
Have you built a fence before?
No, so
I
I
have.
in the village where three out of the five of us grew up, there was a village.
Oh, I know
There
you're
was
gonna
a village newsletter.
Oh, maybe I don't.
And there was a village newsletter, and then it because I have these sort of periods where I sort of develop an obsession with things.
With fences.
And,
way.
You've gotten familiar with it.
and I
I
started
knew day one.
and I started watching like fencing, as in the sport fencing,
Right.
and I saw an advert in the newsletter. Insert name here, fencing. So I phoned the guy up, and it took. And I was like speaking about it. He was like, "Okay, so I could do this day, this day." I'm like, "Oh, I could do that. Yeah, that'd be great." And he was like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Well, I'm really just wanting to get to grips with it." And he was like, "Wait, what?" It took us a good 5 minutes of conversation to figure out that instead of the sport fencing,
He wanted a fence built. Very good.
Oh, that's really funny, actually. Damn. Like, it's... Mechanically, it's really funny. You know?
Like when you break it apart.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, like, if you're, like,
If you look at it from outside of house.
If you're trying to write a comedy bit, if that comes to mind, you're like, oh, that's really good.
and this happened in real fucking life. This was just me being a complete and utter moron, thinking I was about to get fucking fencing lessons, but no, I was actually booking a guy to
Did you-
fucking put a fucking fence on my house.
Oh, he wanted to build your fence. I thought you were calling to go and build his fence.
No, I
What?
was.
How would that work?
Did you at least hire him to build a fence?
No.
It's just
I
like...
I hung up the phone immediately in
Should have
embarrassment.
just got him to put a post
Nathan, you heard from the story something fencing, and you thought, oh, is this the guy you call to build their fence?
In all fairness, I thought the same, right? I
Oh, yeah,
I
he was calling
understand,
'cause he was
fence built.
Yeah, he needed something built and he put it
How
in
would
the
that
paper.
be?
And here's
How
me,
would you confuse
having
that for
absolutely
fencing
zero
lessons?
knowledge
How
of
did he
building
confuse it
fences.
I mean, he was the confuser. I just mean like.
There's a hurricane. and fencing man car doesn't start. And so he goes inside and he's like, oh, could I leave my van here?
Wait, no. Remember. He took a long time to build quite a short stretch of fence.
Yes,
The
he did.
fence
He
was-
took a whole day to build
4 slats of fence.
the width
because he couldn't finish
this
it.
couch.
How long would that
fence.
take you, John?
I mean, less than that.
do you have
is
any
my
knowledge?
stance.
Do you have knowledge of building fences?
Look, the type of fence building he was doing was
It was white picket fence building.
it was
The
not.
American
Metaphor.
dream.
And
Oh, yeah.
Nick Cage's character is a Vietnam vet, but not really.
He looked
We'll
very
get to
young.
that bit.
He looked when is this set?
Like 2019.
Yeah, I think it
know.
is just 2019.
There's no
Wait,
sense.
No one has a phone! No,
It's
no,
88.
because they use the rotary phones.
Yeah.
I was
rotary
waiting to
phones
say
for
because if it's in
It
2019,
says in the film 1988.
Does it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It is.
It doesn't.
okay, so he's the
He's
right.
wait! I've got some car knowledge. He's driving a car that was too brand new to be from 1988. If it was,
But
that.
it wasn't a good film, remember?
Yeah, I know that. But fucking.
You're forgetting. It was shit.
The whole
Because
premise
if
is he's
it's
driving.
in 1988, then he's the right age to be a Vietnam veteran because.
Yeah, he's like in
the
his
war in
40s.
Vietnam was from 1965
I guess
until
they was driving
1975.
old police cars, but like the police station
The
itself
sheriff was
pretty-
really racist. I mean, not
They
not
still
already.
are.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, like he was like, like KKK,
As
like
is fitting with 1988.
own slaves,
Corrupt
like his
what to
parents'
your
own
human
slaves,
rights
kind of.
I guess they
matters.
were
Yeah,
using-
You
they
don't
were-
get a lawyer.
From Nicolas Cage's accent, I'm guessing it was in the South.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah. It was like Louisiana, right?
New Orleans.
Norlands.
Because his wife
Had the worst goddamn accent I was
was
saying.
was
a
a
goddamn list.
New Orleans jazz singer
Oh.
who didn't make it because she committed herself to Nick Cage, who isn't a Vietnam vet because he got hit in the leg by shrapnel before they got deployed and got sent home, and has forever been drinking himself into oblivion
Yeah, he's been
Because he
really
wishes
hung
He
up
was
on it.
almost a vet.
because he wished he'd been killed with the rest of his unit.
And that's his
Yeah.
whole thing is like he's obsessed with it, and then he finds out this other guy is also
He
a
has
vet,
got-
and he's like walking around with his gun, and he's been like,
Yeah, there's a lot of dick measuring.
He's
here.
got survivor's
do in
guilt,
the
but
army?
not really, since he didn't really
But
survive anything.
well, no,
Oh,
it is
oh.
survivor's guilt because like he
yeah,
He's
but
waggling his finger.
what have you got to say?
all of these people died.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say
Oh,
there.
sorry,
But it's not survivor's guilt, right? We'll add some.
It is survivor's
we'll
guilt.
add some culture to this. It's not survivor's guilt in like Arthur Miller's All My Sons. Chris's character.
Alright,
Yeah,
alright.
say an author and a
Chris's-
book. And
Yeah,
fucking,
right.
Chris's character, who was a fighter pilot during World War II, all of his the whole story is that his dad during the war repurposed his factory to make plane parts, and the plane parts were faulty, which caused planes to
not playing anymore.
not playing properly. And
Also
Chris was
fly.
Chris was the only one that survives, and later on finds out
So
that
lost.
This isn't.
I was
No.
like, this isn't the right movie.
Chris has survivor's guilt because out of a unit of 22, he
Did you ever
all-
see Labyrinth with David Bowie?
Yes.
Yes.
This is kind of like how David Bowie's the Goblin King, and he sends his goblins off to die for him, but he doesn't die himself. It's
But
like
he
that.
doesn't have any guilt about that.
Does he not?
It's not
Because
survivor's
he's
guilt.
constantly trying to create new goblins.
But I'd argue that's just because he's the Goblin King.
That's Goblin, yeah. Goblin
He plays
101.
with his balls.
Yeah, but does every
Goblins.
man?
True. His dick
Fuck,
is out the entire
Yeah, I was away to
Oh,
say
no,
that.
it is too.
I was away to say with
Have a
Goblin.
credit
That's halfway to a porno as well.
wait, are you?
for Jennifer Connelly.
Please tell me it doesn't actually have a credit.
No, it should though.
His
Sick.
David Bowie's moose knuckle.
Yes.
Yummy.
Survivor's Guild. Nick Cage.
That's a different kind of survivor's guilt.
What?
The Goblin King.
I know, I was just trying to take the piss out of Daniel. I didn't mean it.
Also, his type of survivor's guilt was also wrong.
No, it's not, because Chris was involved.
You've just seen the movie.
I know! That's why he's wrong!
Chris was a fighter pilot in World War II. Everyone else in his unit got killed, and he wishes that he was killed as well.
Yeah, that is survivor's guilt,
Yeah.
but it's not the same kind.
That's what I'm saying. Nicolas Cage was survivor.
That is what you say.
His survivor's guilt isn't fucking survivor's guilt because he didn't make it to Vietnam.
Right, but...
No, he did make it to Vietnam. They were in Vietnam, and he got injured by a grenade going off, and they sent him home. Oh god. And like 2 weeks later, his entire unit was killed, and he's stuck thinking, it's not so much survivor's guilt, because he didn't want to survive.
He might have survived that anyway.
It was more that he was guilty that he couldn't do anything to help all of his units survive. I don't know if that's
right.
survivor's guilt so much as because he was not involved in the event that led to their deaths. But that's what he's guilty about, that he wasn't involved.
But it's all a ruse.
It's not! That part was real!
No, it's not. None of it is real. It's all a farce. Because Nick Cage has been assisting his wife, who can't have kids, in having children by kidnapping local teenagers.
Not just
and making
teenagers!
them have-
Not just teenagers! In the headline at the end, one of them was 7 years old.
Oh my god!
Yeah!
I missed that.
We only find this out
They've
at the
been
very
making
end of
them
the
have-
film, though, after it's all been done, and the fucking news reporter just comes on and goes, yeah, well, so Mr. and Mrs. What's Their Face have been kidnapping children and teenagers for the past God knows many years and having kids with them. Let's go to the
Forcing
weather.
them to have babies.
Let's go to the weather. Also, can I say something? Whole film doesn't include it. There's the only baby that's involved is the fucking farmer man or the fucking fence builder man.
Farmer man.
It's
The
kids.
Navy man.
This whole house is meant to be like, oh, they're making babies with these people. I don't see a fucking baby at all. Surely they've got that, like.
They're all in the basement.
Fucking give me that shit. When the police open the door and find this woman just falls out of the door like she's leaned up against it.
This is way
There's no-
more entertaining than the film.
There's
That's
no,
the point.
there's no, there's no.
That's
baby
the
inside.
whole podcast.
Right, so Nick Cage takes the fence builder man up to the attic to have a beer with him and have a chat.
And show him his big gun.
Yes. And
I mean,
he
he's already
takes
showed
out,
off
he
his
takes
big gun.
out a bag and he throws it beside the fence builder who's having money troubles, and he opens it and there's $20,000 in cash. in there.
$100,000.
And he's like, as you saw in the trailer, Nick Cage is like,
No, he
I'll
said
pay you this to
$20,000,
kill my
that would
wife.
fix your life. But $100,000, that would set you up.
But
That was a quote.
and so Nick Cage gives him cyanide to go and kill his wife with.
He just
And
had.
so, as
No, it
it
doesn't
cuts
exactly
back
what
to
else
fence builder man
He just
in
had
interrogation
cyanide.
cell,
Yeah, I know about the sex one.
and he's trying to explain what's happening, and he's saying, "You have to understand, I was trying to survive now." And so the way he thinks to survive is by fucking Nicolas Cage's wife, and then not poisoning her, and then telling her that Nick Cage wanted him to poison her, and so then she stabs him in the hand with a knife. And then it all, like, he gets tied up, but then they drop the bomb that, oh, actually they're working together the whole time
We're just having
to
fun.
try and kidnap him to make him have babies for them. And there's no babies, as Kieran's saying.
There is no baby.
No,
Yes.
that's not right.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Why do
I
you
watched.
think they're...
I watched just like 4
his
hours
car
ago.
didn't break.
I say
They
4.
obviously sabotaged his car to not start,
Yeah,
to keep him there.
but like,
They wanted.
was Nicolas Cage also infertile?
No, she was infertile. And he,
Yeah, she was infertile.
But
Why
they-
would they
How
need
is
another
Nicolas Cage gonna
man?
have babies with him?
They had
No,
another man.
no.
There's another man they
Yeah.
captured
And
and
the-
is on
the-
Saley.
You've got
Yeah, right, but that's because he was robbing the house.
No, but they're using him to have babies with the woman that they kidnap.
The Asian lady who's in the basement.
But I hate to say it, but why?
Why couldn't Nicolas Cage just have?
That's what I mean.
Because he's a
With the
big
Asian
man with a
lady.
big gun and a
A
fucking
limp
Vietnam
dick.
vet.
There's like 50 rooms in this basement.
Yeah,
And they're all filled with someone that they've
I
kidnapped.
know. But
Also,
I didn't pick up at all from the film. Not saying that's not what was happening. That they were also abducting men for the purposes of making
Well,
children.
no, they
make
are,
sense.
because there's a radio thing earlier in the film and it says, another teenage boy has gone missing.
Was it specifically teenage boy? or
Yes!
Teenager?
Yes!
No, it was Teenage Boy.
So they weren't just making children. They had some kind of weird
I don't know,
fucking.
they had a family down there that was just fucking breeding with each other. Like,
It's really
Which
fucked
they
up.
never show. The
And
closest.
Yeah, I assume because they ran out of
The
budget.
very
That or
last
it's based
second-
off a true story.
when the
Right.
boy
All the sex
kind
scenes
of-
will be on an iPhone somewhere.
is kind
Like, kept for personally.
My theory is that the film is paced so weirdly
kind
because
of-
it's partially based off of a true story.
It's
I
kind
don't
of
think
Fritzl-esque.
No, not really, but like that would explain some of the stupidity. That
It's-
or it was really badly
Let's
fucking.
look it up.
It could be loosely based off of Fritzl, but that was not. That was his actual child, rather than an outside source.
Oh no, not that one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Joseph Fritzl, for anyone that's listening. That
Don't
doesn't know.
Google it.
Yeah, don't look him up. He's an Austrian man
Is
who.
that the guy with white hair and
Yeah,
stuff?
he held his younger daughter hostage for 24 years in an annex, and made his wife and his daughter's mother believe that she'd ran off, but in fact she was in this annex, and he had 7 children with her.
I think there's a movie about that.
Probably. This is the movie, Grand Isle. Yeah.
He was not a Vietnam veteran. Germany were not involved in Vietnam.
All right.
Whoever did the
Believe it was
Wikipedia
Nicolas.
page for this
Ger-
film
yeah,
went
Aus-
into
Aus-
detail.
Yeah, there's a thing on the top of the Wikipedia page for the plot. It says this plot line may go into too much detail or
Yeah.
too descriptive detail. It's
You
got
never
a
see that in
It's got
Wikipedia.
a warning symbol next to it to basically tell you that whoever wrote this has went into way too much fucking
You never
detail.
see that in Wikipedia.
The
That's great.
critical response to this film on review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 0%.
Is that just critics or is that audience?
Based
as well?
on 10 reviews. So
All right, so that's really fucking.
yeah.
But,
I mean, that's
statistically
normally,
significant.
It's at
normally,
9%
normally
now
there's only
after
about,
4
there's
years.
on average there's only between
Was it you?
10 and
You should
about.
be
Was it you with the 10-star review? That would do it.
I think there's a lot to enjoy with this film. I found myself genuinely enjoying a lot of it up until it's suddenly like, oh no, it's all a farce. We're working together to make like illegitimate children and shit in our rape dungeon.
That
like,
wasn't
it's fucking,
exactly my read on the film.
yeah.
Nicolas
Like-
Cage's actions, like his acting all the way through it, was pretty like for a deranged.
I mean, all he had to do was be.
yeah, but
you
for
know?
playing a deranged man with a gun, like he done it pretty well, and you could be genuinely terrified from him in the situation.
Okay.
The end scene.
Oh, it's changed. There has been another review,
Oh!
and it has pushed it up to. You ready?
12%.
On Rotten Tomatoes,
9.
9%.
He said 9%.
It's 9%.
Yeah, it was a
the
one, like,
audi-
10-star,
the
5-star
audience
review.
score. Audiences are usually not a lot more forgiving. Is 45%.
Wow.
Nathan, see for the last end screen credit, can we reenact it?
Oh, please do.
What, the
So, do you want to be
Right.
Nicolas Cage or do you want to be?
Who do you like?
You're
I'll be
reading
Nicolas Cage,
You'll
right?
be Nicholas, I'll be the police officer.
Right, I need-
Or will I be... I can't remember. Fuck knows. Right, okay.
Wilhelms, imagine I've got a skinny white man in front of me.
You are the skinny one.
Hold on, Waller! You don't need to do this!
Fuck you. That's basically what happens. And then he throws the white man next to him. And he goes, and he pulls out a second gun from nowhere.
Second
and
gun?
Goes, and imagine Nicholas, he's had a haircut, he's trimmed his beard, he's in a really shit
He's in
army
his-
outfit.
yeah, he's
that
in his
is clear-
uniform.
has
He
no
had a hair-
So this
Haircut.
is like the final standoff
Yeah.
that he could have had in Vietnam.
Yeah, he is.
With
he's got
some
there's
Vietnamese
there's
farmer.
There's no nothing on it, it's just a white green thing you buy on Amazon.
Slightly before that, Walter, Nick Cage, and Fence Builder Man have a little talk because Walter has because his wife leaves because he fucked Nick Cage's wife, and then like Nick Cage has his wife and the baby in his car, and Nick Cage says, "How does it feel?" And he goes, "It feels awful. Every day away from my wife and my child, it tears me apart." He's like, "Is it anything like being in Vietnam and not dying with your squad?"
It's a real
Delivered not dissimilarly to that, we pick up here.
I've thrown the woman away and I've grabbed the white man. And I'm just like, you go,
You don't need to do this, Nick.
fuck you.
Throw him away.
I throw him away. And then I pull out. I have a revolver, and I pull out just a random pistol, and I go.
Pulls him out, cue 10 police officers all completely unload their guns into Nick Cage.
Also shooting the guy who I just threw away clearly out of
In
view.
the shoulder, he
gets
goes
shot.
down.
I go down, not shooting
Nick
one
Cage
bullet.
takes like 50 bullets.
So right, no, we're gonna
Balls
calculate
of
this. So 10 police officers. They would
It's not
probably
10 police
There's like
officers for
3
one.
bullet holes in him when he goes
How
It's
down.
many-
maybe 5?
five.
Oh, it's
Okay.
like 8.
Oh, okay. Somewhere between 8 and 5.
Okay, so the average police got now. What guns did they have?
They have
Like an
pistol,
M9
revolver.
pistol.
Revolver.
Revolvers. So a revolver's normally about 6 shots.
Yeah, but you're
So
assuming they
six
shot all
what's
6 of
times
them.
8?
Oh no, you asked the wrong
48.
people.
48. So he's got 48 rounds in him right now.
And
Pretty good
and the screen only shows one there, one there, and one there. So I've gone down, bang, bang, bang. The boy's been shot off the side, and Nicolas Cage is now dead.
Alright, two
That's it.
things.
That's
Two
our
things
first-
immediately.
Action Nick Cage death on this podcast.
Right.
We had Leaving Las Vegas where he dies drunk.
That's not really action.
It's
Yeah,
the
but
fact-
this is our first action death.
Yeah, it is.
He
Yeah.
died in a big explosion in that one film.
What film?
I don't know.
I mean, I'd say he was getting a
Oh,
lot of that.
Face Off.
I mean, that's.
yeah, no, he did die in Face. No, but that was John Travolta.
Yeah, John Travolta wasn't.
But it was Nick Cage.
But also in Leaving Las Vegas, I'd say he was getting a lot of action when he died.
Oh, you're very funny.
That's funny. That's a callback because
Alright,
he's
okay.
having sex when he dies.
Oh wait, my main trope with this whole point is this man pulls out a second gun and does not fire a single round. Rather just stands there and goes pop, 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 and then falls.
I
Yeah, it's
have.
because when police officers see something they think is a gun, they shoot.
Yeah, but he could also shoot. There's a space in between this film where he.
I don't think he from what I've heard, I don't think he wanted to.
Shoot. Yeah.
Cunt.
Alright, I have a lot of things to say.
Okay.
Amazing. Alright, I'm going to start with your estimation of how many shots were put into him, right? When you assume that those revolver people shot every shot they had,
Well, he just
Wait,
says he
sorry, I've got a
unloaded
bit to add on.
everything.
they did.
John,
They
John,
did.
John, I've got a bit of that on. So there was there was one guy with an M9 pistol, and you see
Alright, so
him
that
like
has more bullets.
you see him.
An M9's got what, eight
Yeah,
rounds?
you see it run out of bullets because the gun like clicks
Oh, yeah,
back
the-
and
the-
stops.
yeah.
So there you go. Continue.
Okay,
sorry.
additionally, you assume that he was accurate. The police were accurate, sorry.
There
Which
was a
they
small-
were not, given that they shoot the main character in the shoulder,
He was in a
and
small-
he was at least a meter away.
Context: it was in a really small car park outside. It was like a takeaway.
Outside a diner?
Yeah, it was like a takeaway. It was a tiny wee like gravelled car park. So it was not like they were in a like fucking open field where they were like, that's him.
Yeah, the police were not making, like, long distance shots for them to have missed.
No.
Also, I'm saying, like, we could do a minimum because I know that. So, police officers, and I've heard this from a police officer who worked with firearms, police officers are trained to double tap.
Yeah, that sounds right.
2 in the chest, 1 in the head.
So, bang, bang, no, like each
Oh.
time they're going to shoot, they shoot 2 rounds. So, they go bang, 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 bang.
I mean,
So you-
also,
so you'll have,
'cause
like, if there's
shooting
8
the person
officers-
you're
8
shooting more is
officers,
good.
He will have and say they hit their target on the first one, they're going to hit it on the
You've got to
second
kill
one.
them if you're,
Mine just
if
goes
you're
up-
shooting them, they got to die.
Then you say it's a
More
minimum,
bullet, we're
right?
good.
So two rounds per 8
But
officers.
this is a Scottish
16
police
rounds.
officer
No, it's not.
that you talked to.
You ever played COD
No,
Zombies? You did 2 in the
what's
chest.
No,
Scottish
he
armed
worked in
police.
the Met, in London.
Oh,
Okay, so London. This is America.
this is America. This is set in
Ba,
America.
ba, 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 ba.
And then they
Pretty
reload
much.
quickly.
Oh, it's not moving. We forgot to ask him questions.
Actually, no. He was white, so they did give him a long time to surrender.
Fair enough. Can't fault him.
We
Okay,
tried.
so there's a few things that make me dispute Nicolas Cage's role in it. Because you said that the whole thing was like a scheme, basically, to draw this guy in for their sex ring.
Dungeon.
Sex dungeon, yeah. But, like, my impression of it was that Nicolas Cage was, like, he started off loving this woman. I mean, they got married, of course, back when, you had to, I don't know, fucking doesn't matter. I
But
don't
you
know.
have to love a wound. Like,
Yeah, I know. What was that?
You
What's
act
that
like marriage today is because of love.
That's because of friendship.
No,
Convenience.
it's a financial-
Marriage,
I understand. That's stupid shit.
marriage these days is about tax breaks.
Too right. Alright.
John
So-
knows all too well.
My impression of it was that, like, regardless of whatever reason that they got married, they chose to build a life together. They wanted to have a family, right?
They wanted to have a sex.
And no,
They wanted to
50
kidnap
Shades of Grey?
teenagers.
the wife said that she always wanted a huge family, right? And I
With a
assume
bunch
at
of
some point,
strangers in a dungeon.
stop. And I assume they tried
I mean,
that.
that's a dream.
She was actually trying to build a jazz band that she could perform with.
It's basically the story of the Jackson 5.
Yeah, effectively.
Fuck.
Nicolas Cage is Joe Jackson.
Yeah, and Michael's in the basement.
Okay.
Just being like, hey, you want to let me out here?
Uh,
I'm getting quite claustrophobic. Hey, can I get some water?
This
This
pub-
isn't any good for my voice.
John, you were saying.
what was I saying? Yes. So they attempted to have children and discovered that they were unable, and
Yes.
it turns out it was because the wife was
And so
infertile.
the
for whatever
logical
reason.
thing to do is to kidnap strangers and make them have children.
Adoption.
There
is
were
also
only
an
missing
option.
people for a number of months before the film was set. They had been married for quite a number of years, right?
Like 15
But this
years.
is to say, we don't know their
50
past.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know if they've done the same thing in another city,
I agree, but
in
people.
another state.
Well, no, that was her.
No,
that was
it's
her
their family home. They've lived there their entire marriage.
Yeah. She
So
said,
they say.
Alright, shut up. She loves the home.
yeah, reading
She
too
wanted
much
to
in-
have
John,
kids.
Nicolas Cage lied about his wife having blood cancer.
And the
How
wife.
can you trust anything they say? It's postmodern literature.
Shut up. Let me continue. Let me spin this yarn and then you can spin your fucking spider web.
Let me spin this yarn.
Yeah.
This film's rubbing off on me. That's a very southern phrase. Let me spin this yarn a second here.
It's whatever.
Spin,
Okay.
spin.
So
Spinny spin, spin.
they discovered that they couldn't have kids.
Yes.
A number of years passed, up to 15,
Yes.
given their length of their marriage, because they were
19
celebrating their.
years, 20 years.
I thought it was 15.
I don't know.
They were
50 years
celebrating.
since 1980,
They
so they
celebrated
got
their
married
wedding
in 19
anniversary. Basically, the day of the film is set
So
on. Okay?
1973, so that's 8 years into the Vietnam War.
Yeah, he got sent late into the Vietnam War to war. They married relatively young, I think, and they got married like not long after he came home, right? Anyways,
Yes.
that's not. So
What's the
they spent a
dumb
long
thing?
time, and at the end of the film, the wife is admitted to a mental health hospital. Although this is an '80s mental health hospital.
Which
She's
is
got a
Tic
mental
Tac
Did
health
she
Apples.
cry once? And
Yeah,
was
she
sent
could have been
away?
having a woman disease, being a
Hysteria.
woman
It was
disease. but-
hysteria.
I've got
Right.
many.
yeah.
She
But-
got the women's disease. We're putting her in a hole.
Is there not?
So that does.
We
that does
wash her with
subtract
a
from it.
hose 2 times a month.
But
Don't get any ideas.
my theory is that
Is there not a voodoo side of this as well?
Yeah,
yes,
she has little
there is a lot
dolls.
of voodoo effigies throughout the house, which makes me think.
with pins.
Which does link back to New Orleans because it's a big thing, like especially the sort of the Creole culture in New
Yeah,
Orleans. Is
yeah,
voodoo.
I don't understand.
absolutely, but
It's
she's also a
quite-
very white
And
woman.
also in the film Princess and the Frog.
I was about to mention that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be the white girl in the room.
Right.
So Dan
I
took
watched
that
it; it was a
for
good
me.
film. It's okay.
I hope this is.
Moana
gonna be a
was
film-
really good.
But I was real.
I hope this was going to be a film that us three hadn't seen and you two had seen, and we could then continue with the Princess and the Frog analysis.
No. Okay,
He's a lover
So,
of the Princess and the
a
Frog.
large amount of time passed when they discovered they were unable to have kids, or they were trying to have kids and suffering because they couldn't.
Adoption was clearly not an option.
And it's clear throughout the house there's a lot
Maybe
of like.
because of his mental health issues.
I wasn't gonna say
Right,
voodoo,
so-
but there are definitely like voodoo dolls. You know, like it's like
Is that not how they control the
Yeah.
people in the basement?
I don't know, but there's a lot of like it's a lot of like disturbing like
disconnected.
dolls and imagery. That it's like I think it's clear that it's been happening for quite a long time. There are a lot of these like effigies, right? I don't want to say dolls because I don't want to
They're
attribute to
kind of
voodoo,
throwaway
but it
shells.
probably is voodoo because
Yeah,
of
it
the
is voodoo.
location.
It
It's a
but-
but-
voodoo
it's
doll,
voodoo.
it's the name. Like.
It's voodoo.
Right, but like voodoo's a religion. It's kind of difficult.
We're not going to
Everything's a
offend
religion
anyone on
nowadays,
this
so
podcast.
I don't think there's people that practice voodoo, but I'd rather not
no,
make
no,
a.
No,
there is,
especially
there
in
is,
the Caribbean.
Because
like,
if you
voodoo is
watch
still a
if
thing.
you watch the film, not the film, the TV series Dark Tourist, he
Oh,
goes
yeah.
to, I can't remember the name of the country in Africa, but he goes to a country in Africa and he has a proper like voodoo ceremony
Voodoo,
practiced
yeah.
on him.
Is that the one where the guy get?
It's a
possessed?
Kiwi guy that he
I don't know the Kiwi get. No, I mean one of the people in the
Yeah.
ceremony gets
Exactly,
possessed.
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I've seen that episode. Doesn't matter. So anyway, this woman has been like obsessing about at least this voodoo way of there because her problem is she couldn't have children. I think
Yeah.
that seems
Benin.
from my impression.
Benin.
Okay,
That's where he goes in Africa.
Benzin, what?
for my
What's
she's
benzin?
Benin e voodoo.
benzene.
Benzin voodoo.
Benzene is a chemical you shouldn't touch. Anyway,
John, what were you saying?
from I am like
Benzene is also a song by Rammstein.
I don't extrapolating.
John's feeling how I feel most podcasts. And I'm trying to further the conversation.
Yeah.
Those things are just being talked over.
I know. I have like a theory here. I'm trying to forward.
hast mich gefragt. Du hast mich gefragt und ich hab nicht
I was listening to that earlier today. It's a really good song. Okay, so
Erdol ist über alles, nimmer still.
the film is really bad, so it's hard to put any kind of good story to it.
You have a pussy, I have a dick. So what's the problem?
He played that in the Craigie drive-thru at Mackey's. I was like, I think he's a Nazi, guys.
I've left this sort of ambiguous as to how I know German.
Is it school?
Don't worry about it.
Yes! Keep it going! Yeah, keep it going!
Okay, there's a podcast about movies,
Yeah, what were you saying?
and I'm
John?
trying to analyze a film.
Go on.
Just
Okay, so the film is bad. Okay, so it's hard to tell. It's hard to read into the wife's actions much because she's in. I think she's written as mentally unhealthy, right? Really
I think
mentally
they
unhealthy.
both are from the sounds of it.
Yes, I know, but one more so than the other. Okay,
Which
And-
one's
I
worse?
don't know.
the wife.
Is she?
Yeah.
He was in
he
Vietnam.
did try to poison her with cyanide.
Yes, I know,
But you just said that was a ruse.
but this is
But
actually.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Gonna
Let me continue. I have to remind myself where I am at this tirade.
Please.
Fuck. Okay, so they spent a large number of years trying to have kids. They discovered they couldn't. The wife became very mentally unwell during that time and started obsessing about the idea of having kids. And I think persuaded Nicolas Cage's character to abduct these children to make kids. And Nicolas Cage was like, alright, I don't know about this. Okay, but he went along with it because I think he did love her for most of their marriage, right? And it's only after a number of months of them abducting kids. What the fuck? I mean,
what
sure.
I'm saying.
I'm trying to get all of the advocate out of the bottle, so
Fuck is wrong with you?
That's a lot.
That's fine, actually. That's fine. I mean, the thing he's diluting it with is really weird, but whatever. Okay.
It's a bad film, is what you're trying to say.
It's a bad film I'm trying to give good story to.
Points to.
Yeah. Stop.
Sorry,
Okay.
I've got a fact after this.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
So,
Finish with the fact.
so the wife pushed him into abducting children because she was obsessed with having children, right?
Yes.
Perhaps they both were to a degree,
Yes.
but like
He
I
wanted
think
to
she pushed it
support her.
further. Yeah,
Yes.
he was trying to support her because he doesn't talk about the
That's not
basement at all
Until he's chained up.
until he has to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I feel like he went along with this initially because he loves her, but then resentment built up. He was like, "This is," he's like, "I don't like this." The drinking picked up, I think, and then comes our main character, the fencer. The wife clearly tries to seduce him for her plan, and I think it snaps him a bit. He's suddenly had enough. And remember, he's been living mostly in Vietnam. He never really fought in Vietnam, but his mind has never strayed from Vietnam.
His mind hasn't left.
Well, in the final confrontation, he's wearing his uniform.
True. Yeah. It's
He cuts his hair, he shaves his
Don't know how
beard.
well it's portrayed.
He's
but
in his
it's
uniform
there. Yeah.
at the very final scene. I think it's fair to say that he has been thinking about his army career for a very long time.
As we've said before, I don't think Nick Cage is acting badly in this film. It is a bad film.
Sorry.
But I don't think he's
I like
acting
playing those,
badly.
man.
Yeah, I've got a point, John.
Yeah,
if you
it's
wouldn't
got fun.
interrupt me during my point, that'd be a rude thing to do.
How am I
This
wrong?
podcast would go on so much better if you didn't interrupt people when they're trying to be.
That's why you're fucking
Okay,
bad.
man.
My full
No,
attention.
Kieran had a point. Kieran, what would you like to
Kieran,
say?
you have my full attention.
So you know our favourite source from information.
IMDb.
So you know you're talking about the fucking army outfit? So the army outfit he was wearing had nothing to do with any of the ex-Marines at all. It was
That's
just
really
it was-
funny.
It was just a really shit thing that they just clearly bought on Amazon, typed in army uniform and bought. Also, see, so it was set in 1988, which I don't fucking know that.
Haha! It's almost like I watched the
But you know
film.
when he throws the bag of money in front of everyone?
That's out irritating.
And the money that's the money that's in the bag wasn't made until like 2006, so it's like 20 years later. They couldn't have even just gone back.
The printed money.
The printed money in the bag wasn't made till like 2006. It was like new money that was in the bag, but it was set in 1988, so they didn't even think about going, ah shit, maybe we should get money that's the same.
scene was just all over.
I mean, what's the exchange rate for old money, right?
No, but you
Okay.
could have just went and fucking like printed like shit paper one and just went, that's fine.
All
go with
right, we
it.
all agree
Right, that
it was a,
uniform is fucking garbage. I'm looking at it right now.
It's just a green.
We all-
That is not right. It's the right colour
yeah, I know.
in that it's.
Yeah, but you could
all-
also say it's the right
it's
colour
like
and wear a
dark,
tracksuit.
dark olives. No, he's so that is. So he's got an arrow on his right arm, which actually goes on your left arm. But that one arrow signifies he's
You got a point there.
the one arrow
Checking left and right.
Oh fuck!
the one arrow signifies that he's a lance corporal.
Who knows? Again, the film is not good. I'm trying to patch together the story from a bad film.
Usually, I would say at the end
So
of
far, we've
this.
started with the ending. We got it reenacted. We went back to the beginning. We went to the ending. We started in the middle.
You know,
It's just-
That's
You know-
how summarizing films on this podcast goes.
Do you know,
I've
sometimes
tried many times to do
This
it right.
podcast doesn't even talk about the film; it just goes on a tangent for an hour.
That's
And then,
usually because the film is that terrible.
Yeah.
Or,
or
there's
if
just
you,
nothing
No,
leave,
really
if you leave
unpack
Daniel
in
and
the
Nathan
film.
for an episode, it
You
doesn't
just
talk
talk
about
with
it.
Daniel, to be honest.
What-
It's a tangent.
in the lone episode, what was it we spoke about?
G.G. Allen.
That was it, G.G. Allen.
They spent the whole episode talking about that and not a single thing with the film.
That's the thing,
Because
though.
G.G. Allen is just such
But
a
to be
fascinating-
fair, we did on a podcast we never did. We did an episode on State Troop. What was it called?
Super Troopers?
Troop.
Super
The
Troopers?
the
Yeah, it's a film.
the Girl Guides
Oh.
thing. American
Oh,
Girl.
yeah,
that was
we
a good
did
film.
a
Feel-
solo
I was the
episode
Viola
on that.
Davis thing in the podcast that we never did.
Yeah.
Wait, no, that wasn't a good film.
We got quite teary because we both liked it.
Aw.
It was
It was very heartwarming.
the last sequence specifically in that film is very
Yes. And we've done we've not. Anyway,
The
we need to
Croods
get in touch
2 was
with the
quite
Americans.
emotional.
Anyway, I'm not done with my
Yes,
theory.
Americans,
we're
if
done
you're
with this
listening,
podcast.
Joe and Amy, you fucks.
Daniel, I'm afraid to say this is on you. We'll talk more later. Anyway, next week, join us for the 2019 film Arsenal
Oh, fucking hell.
I'm very unsatisfied
with
this episode.
2019, so
Yeah.
John Cusack's in it as well.
yes,
It's the same year this
big
film.
love John Cusack.
I don't
Um,
recognise
can
anyone
I-
else.
Can I read the description? It's
Yeah.
got 3% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Hell
Mikey, a local gangster, seeks the help of Sal, his brother JP's old friend, to rescue him from Eddie King, a ruthless and powerful criminal. Eddie King, who I'm assuming is the
That was
ruthless,
Southern
powerful criminal, is
Oh
Nicolas
my
Cage.
god,
Nicolas Cage has a weird mustache
he looks bad.
and he's wearing a
Holy
wig.
shit.
That's bad.
Well, enjoy
We
for
should've
next
just
week.
cut
I think
like
it's
5
got a
minutes
fake
ago.
nose
Yeah,
on
I'll
as well.
Oh, cool.
Bye.
Bye bye, boys.
She's an international treasure of ours, yeah. least 4